Sparta. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're one of my subscribers, one of the regulars who hang out here. So good. I missed y'all. I got sick last week, and then I spent my weekend taking care of a bunch of sick people in my family. Yay! No, it wasn't COVID. It was just the normal flu, cold. Yeah, not fun at all. I still have to get into the dentist this week to get more work done, and then in about 3.5 months I go in and get the rest of the implants for all the back, and yeah, it's a mess. But so yeah, if my smile looks funny, you're like, what is going on with those teeth, honey? I know. Stress, PTSD, I grounded my teeth down. I grounded them down, and then when they replaced them, and then I ground those down, and yeah, good times. Today, I figured we're going to go along with the theme of the holiday season. So happy holidays, my friends. I do hope you're doing well and staying healthy. This time of year can bring on so many emotions that come from being nostalgic, remembering the ones we loved, memories of love lost, disappointment, and of faith and hope. The laughter and tears of the years all seem to flood in, and it can be a bittersweet feeling that makes this time of year complicated. Now, today we're going to learn about what happened Christmas Eve, 1945. George and Jenny Sodder were the parents of 10 children. 9 of the 10 children lived in the home with George and Jenny in Fayetteville, West Virginia, when their home was ravaged by fire, and only 4 of their children survived. Now, the other 5 went missing, and to this day, the whereabouts of the 5 Sodder children remains unknown. Due to the father's vocal criticisms of Benito Mussolini and the fascist government of Italy, there are conspiracy theories as to what happened and why. It is even speculated that the mafia took the children. The parents firmly believed that the 5 were still alive, and they were never able to give up hope on seeing them again. Unfortunately, it is still unknown what happened to the children. Now, if you want to learn more about the Sodder family and this mysterious case of alleged arson and missing children, please stay here with me. However, if you want to jump on ahead to the psychic tarot reading that I have, those chapter links down below for you, so you could just skip on ahead. No harm, no foul. I do this because people like to be able to jump ahead, or sometimes do the reading first and then hear the story. Either way, it's up to you. But I do hope you stick around. Thank you for staying, my friends. Whew, let's dive in. Now this case just is like, I have heard about it before I started researching on it. That's why I wanted to do it. And it's always like boggled me of the possibilities of what could have happened. And I'm hoping we can get some insight today. Now, let's get to the main facts about who is involved, where we are, and so forth. You see, December 24th, 1945, a fire ripped through the Sodders family home. George Sodder and his wife Jenny and 9 of their children, we all know, lived in that home. The oldest, we find out later that, you know what? He is in the army during the war. Now, George and Jenny survived the fire, along with 4 of their kids. Their 5 children, Maurice Antonio, who was 14, Martha Lee, who was 12, Luis Enrico, 10, Jenny Irene, who was 8, and Betty Dolly, who was 5, all went missing. While the fire allegedly was due to defective wiring, oddly enough, the Christmas lights outside of the house and inside were still on when the fire started and continued. Now, the two oldest sons and oldest daughter, along with their youngest, survived the fire. And there's a reason, we're going to get into where the kids all were during this fire, so you kind of know, all right? Now, as I said, with the other 5 children went missing. Their remains were never found. There were no remains ever found. The parents spent the rest of their lives, as well as their money, trying to find their children. They hired detectives. They put out billboards. They did a lot. They truly believed that these children were abducted. There were pieces of evidence and eyewitnesses that backed the Father George's theory of abduction. In 1968, a photo supposedly from Louis Sodder was mailed to the surviving family. And on the back was the message, "Louis Sodder, I love you, brother, Frankie." And then it had something, little boys, and then it either said A90132 or 90135. No one knew what any of this meant, and Frankie, who's Frankie? No, they didn't know either. Now, Detective C.C. Tinsley was hired to investigate this photo and where it came from. Unfortunately, he vanished and was never seen again. A billboard about this case with the missing children was posted, and it stayed up in the city until Jenny's death in 1988, and George, he had passed away in 1969. Now, little information, the father, George Sodder, he owned a coal trucking business, and the coal industry was under constant pressure from the mafia, which they may have been involved in this children's disappearances. We don't really know. 90132 was a postal code for Palermo, Sicily at the time, and the Sodders themselves were of Italian descent. The original name was Sodder. That night, Christmas Eve, when they went with the fire, it was at about 10 p.m., the young children negotiated a later bedtime so they could continue playing with their gifts. They're like, "Come on, please, can we stay up? Please, we got toys." Because a lot of traditions, not all families give the Christmas gifts on Christmas morning, but they do it Christmas Eve. So that's why the kids had their stuff. They were like, "We want to play." If you have little kids, so you've been a little kid. Now, their mother, Jenny, she was like, okay, you could stay up as long as your brothers, Maurice, who was 14, and Louis, the 9-year-old, were still awake. So as long as they're up, you kids got it. And then George and the 2 older sons, they went up the stairs and went to sleep soundly. They were just wiped out. They'd been working hard all day. This was not a day off for them. And they worked on it. They had a family farm. They couldn't just stop and let it go. So they've been working. And the younger kids, well, they stayed up and they played and played and played. Now, before Jenny turned in, she reminded Maurice and Louis that they still had to get the cows in and to feed the chicks, and then they could retire to bed or continue staying up playing. But they had to get their chores done, and then she decided, okay, I've told them I'm done, I'm going to bed. And she and the 2-year-old little Sylvia, they went to sleep. Unfortunately, rudely, Jenny was awoken at 12:30 a.m. and it was a prank call. Well, that's what she assumes. The caller was someone who asked for a person who didn't even live in the house, and laughed in a way that Jenny thought was weird. And it was a lot of sound in the background, clinking glasses and laughter, and it was like, okay, a bunch of drunks having a party and they misdialed, okay. And she hung up and she was annoyed. And then she went right back to bed. She's like, okay, I'm going to sleep now. But then 30 minutes later, she hears this loud thud, and something had landed on the roof, and then noisily rolled down to the side, and so she ignored it. I mean, it could have been Santa Claus. Could it? Nah. Well, she woke up for a third time, and it's about 1 a.m., and she could smell smoke. So it wasn't much after she heard that thud that she noticed smoke. What they discovered was George's home office was on fire, folks. And so the parents, they're running around the house trying to wake up their children and get them out. However, the children who stayed up late that night, they had been up in the attic playing, okay? And the staircase to the attic was on fire, and they couldn't get up there to get the kids. It was completely blocked off by the fire. So George goes, he's trying to call the fire department, and the phone was dead. Now, we do know that the phone had rang earlier, about an hour or so earlier, but now it's dead? Yeah, that's a little sketch. Very sketch, if you ask me. Yeah. So George, he's trying to call it. He can't. They get the 3 eldest siblings, George, John, Marion, and then the little 2-year-old Sylvia outside the burning house. And one of the kids ran to a neighbor, was like, to call for help, to get the fire department out there. Now, this is things, if something could go wrong, if things could just not be happening right, that's what's going to... this is so frustrating. So George is like, I got a ladder on the side of the house. I'm going to go grab it, and I'm going to get the other kids out. So he goes to get the ladder, and it's not there. He can't find it. It's gone. And he's like, okay, I'll pull a truck up, and I'll try and climb up there with my truck, try and get them to come down. So he goes to his trucks. He's trying to start it. Both trucks dead. They would not start. Yet he was driving one earlier. And it's suddenly not working? Both? Yeah, he's like, And the fire brigade, who should have been there trying to put out this fire, well, they were understaffed right now. You see, a lot of the young men, they were off in the military fighting the war. So they couldn't be there. They were overseas. And a lot of the others were taking the night off because it was a holiday. And they wanted to be with their family. In fact, it was only the fire chief who was on staff that day. He was all there alone. It was only him. So, and guess what? Mr. Fire Chief couldn't drive the fire truck. He didn't know how. So he had to try and call around the firefighters who were home. Like, help. We have a house on fire. I can't drive the truck. Can you hurry? Get here. So they were very delayed to get out there to try and save the family, the kids. Now, as the months went on following it, the parents started to believe that the kids were not lost in the fire, as had been declared. And this is when they started thinking about the abduction. They were abducted, you see. But they also did some weird stuff. And we're going to get into this. Now, the fire chief had said, don't touch anything. We got to investigate. We're going to go through all the burned remains, and we will, figure out what happened. But George and Jenny, they said that just seeing the burned home and the area is just too much for them. So they literally 4 days after the fire, after they were told don't do anything, bulldozed everything, burned of the burned down part of the house, and then they built a memorial garden. Now this is before they started thinking abduction. They're thinking, oh, our kids were lost in the attic. Fire. Yeah. So they had to do a very hasty inquest into the fire and just declared it was faulty wiring. Now, some people questioned the faulty wiring, and this is what George started questioning. Wait a minute. If the wiring was faulty, how come the Christmas lights were still on? It didn't make much sense to him because they should have been out too if it was faulty wiring that caused the fire and everything just went kaboom. And then, they actually had a jury for the inquest. And one of these jury members, he shouldn't have been on the jury. And I'll tell you a little bit why. You see, he and George clashed. And when George found out that this man had been on the jury, that's where he was like, okay, something's up. Because you see, the man was a life insurance salesman. And George was like, no, man, no, I don't need your business. And, well, the insurance salesman was pissed off. Like, why are you rejecting me? You know, I'm trying to help you. Sell life insurance. So he warns George. The house will go up in smoke, and your children are going to be destroyed. Yeah. And this dude served on a jury. That's sketchy. That's sus. It's like, what? Now, more suspicious evidence did mount up, and started to look like this was more of a case of arson. You see, the telephone repairman, he came to inspect everything, the hanging phone line, because that was supposed to be connected to the house. That all because it was deliberately cut. Someone cut the phone line that hangs from outside into the home. And it's like, it requires someone who can reach like 4.3 meters with a pole and then a 60 centimeter grab lock. So it would take, being able to get up there to do it. And that missing ladder, well, it was found about 20 meters from the house in an embankment, tossed in a ditch, basically. Now, a bus driver who had the route that passed the Sodder house, he told police that he had seen a group of people throwing balls of fire at the house. Balls of fire. Now, I want to know why the policeman had, why did this bus driver say something sooner? Now, George, they found one of those balls, a ball, and he realized it was a pineapple bomb. Now, Jenny Sodder, she started, trying to find anything in the fire that could be, wasn't destroyed. And she found, shifting through everything, she found kitchen appliances that had kept their shape, yet she was like, wait a minute, I was told by the fire department that the fire was hot enough to burn their children to a point where no bones remained. What's this? This is not making sense. So she was like, I'm gonna do my own research here and figure out what could have happened. And so she called a crematorium, the local one, and it was like, hey, can you tell me? I about, how it takes to burn human remains. And they told her, they're like, a 2-hour fire burning at 1100 Celsius would still leave human bones intact. And the Sodder house fire burned at a lower temperature and for less than an hour. So she's like, wait a minute. Now, there were sightings of the Sodder children. Basically, as the house was burning down, a woman claimed to have witnessed the fire and saw children in a passing car sticking their heads out the window. Another woman claimed to have seen them the next morning at a restaurant that she worked at and served them breakfast. Later on, the children were seen again. A woman taught by a woman, she said the children were accompanied by 2 women and 2 men, all of Italian descent, or all Italian. She said, she goes, I don't remember the exact date. However, the entire party did register at that hotel, and it stayed in a large room with several beds. And they came in at about midnight. Yeah. And she's like, I tried to be friendly talk to the kids in a friendly manner, but the men appeared hostile and refused to allow her to talk to the children. And she goes, one of the men looked at me in a hostile manner, and he turned around and began talking rapidly in Italian. Immediately, the whole group stopped talking to me, and I sensed that I was being, closed off, frozen out, as she put it. So I said nothing more, and they left early the next morning. The point of the children being seen with a group of Italians is kind of important, because you see, George had upset many in the Italian community by being vocal about his dislike for Benito Mussolini. And his oldest son was an American soldier in the war, fighting against the Italians, the fascists. You get what I'm saying? Now, a few months before the fire, George Jr. and John Sodder, when the kids had spotted a car parked outside alongside the school. And it looked like they were spying on the younger Sodder children as they were leaving and walking along the main highway. They were like, okay, there's some weird guys watching my siblings. What's going on? So there's that. Now, we got more. There's been more sightings. There were more supposed alleged sightings. 2 years after the fire, George and Jenny, they decide they're going to the FBI. We are very suspicious of this case. We have all this information. They had hired a PI. They felt that there was a solid case. And they were kind of surprised because they got back from FBI boss J. Edgar Hoover. And he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. This is great. But, yeah, I would love to help. And we will if the local authorities would allow it. So the family's like, wait a minute. Let's go ask. And we'll tell them, hey, the FBI can help. But the Fayette police and the fire department refused to allow the FBI to investigate this further. And because this made the family go, what? This made them more convinced that there's some kind of cover-up. And so they got an this is when they hired C.C. Tinsley. Oh, I'm sorry. When I said they'd already hired an investigator, I was wrong. And this is when they hired him. And I apologize. I jumped ahead. But they hired him. And Tinsley, he's the one who had found out about the insurance salesman who warned Sodder the house would burn. Yeah, and had been on the jury. And the jury that found that the fire was just found as faulty wiring. That's what this jury said. Yeah. Now, a priest, yes, we got a priest coming involved in this. He contacts Tinsley and kind of tells him, hey, the Fayetteville fire chief, F.J. Morris, had confessed to him to discovering a human heart in the ashes. And he hid it inside a metal box and buried it at the scene. And I was like, what? Yeah. So Tinsley had pushed, come on, will you show me the area, lead me to the area where this heart is? Sure enough, it was there. Sort of. You see, there was a tin box and there was something in it. But it wasn't a heart and it wasn't burned. It was an actual beef liver. There was no charring, and there was nothing in it that suggested this could have been in a fire. And it wasn't a heart. It, belonged to a cow here, a liver. So Tinsley's like really confused. And he's like, all right, Father Morris, what's up? So the priest is like, I was setting up, I this was a hoax. I was just wanted, the family would see it and just discover this heart as proof of their children perishing in the fire and just, stop the investigation. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh no, this was the fire chief. Sorry. Got mixed up. So the fire chief, so after, okay, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying here. F.J. Morris is the fire chief, and he had to push Morris to show him where this box was. That a priest had said he had confessed about it. And then Morris showed him, and it was just the kid beef tongue. We got this. I have all the notes written down right, but when I can't, I am legally blind, folks, so stuff happens. You forgive me, right? So now we got the fire chief, like, I just want them to stop the investigation, and using a priest and coming up with a fake story of a heart, which is a beef liver. Yeah. Now, they did find some bones that they sent to the Smithsonian Institute for analysis, but they were like, okay, they're 4 lumbar vertebrae. They belong to one person. But the person was between 17 and 22, which is none of the ages of anybody whom had disappeared. But they also said the bones don't show that they'd ever been exposed to a flame. And given that the house had been burned for less than an hour, one would expect to find the full skeleton of all 5 children rather than only 4 vertebrae. So they were like, where did these vertebrae come from? They're like, oh, you guys set up that memorial garden. I bet the vertebrae were in that soil that you used. So they just brushed that off. I don't know. Now, there was a woman in St. Louis who claimed that she had seen the one daughter, Martha, and that she was living in a convent. Yeah. And then a Texas bartender claims to have overheard 2 people bragging around about the fire and kidnapping. Now, George saw a photo of this young ballet dancer from New York, and he swore this was Betty. So he drove all the way there. I mean, they're in Fayetteville, and they're driving all the way to New York. But he wasn't allowed to see the girl. He was like, ugh. And he also saw photos of a distant relative of Jenny. So Jenny has a distant known relative. And the children bore the resemblance of his kids. Well, you would think maybe possibly familial looks. So he travels to Florida, demands proof that these children were not his children, and it took some convincing before he was satisfied. And a Houston woman wrote to George saying that a man she knew got drunk one night and confessed he was Louis Sodder, who was 9 at the time of the fire. He claimed he was living there with his brother Maurice. Now, George and his son-in-law Grover Paxton traveled there in hope to find him, but no longer could they find the woman with the initial tip-off. Local police recognized her descriptions of the man and helped them locate them. However, both in conversation denied that he was Louis Sodder. And Paxton later said George, he wasn't convinced by this denial and carried this doubt to his deathbed. He really believed that was Louis before him. In 1952, the family erects a billboard on the side of the freeway with the photos of the children, with a reward of $10,000 for information that could lead them to anyone. And this billboard kind of became a local landmark. And it helped cement the case in the minds of the locals and those who passed through town for decades. Yet, it never garnered any leads that were of any kind of substance. In 1967, Jenny Sodder received a letter postmarked in Central City, Kentucky. And inside was a photograph of a man around the age of 30 who bore a striking resemblance to Louis. And in the back of the photograph, I told you about this postcard already. It said, Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie. Little boy's A901 and we think 32. But you see, this made zero sense. The private investigator they hired to decode it and track down the men fled with their money and was never seen again. He just poof, he took the money. All right, I'll go check it out, and disappeared. And they were like, there were no Sodder boy children named Frankie. Yeah, that just made zero sense. The message was unbreakable. They couldn't figure it out. Now, given the billboard's prominence over the past 15 years, it could have just been a cruel prank. But the Sodder family, nevertheless, added the photo to the billboard and put an enlarged version of it over their fireplace. And this is the last kind of lead that they ever receive. In 1968, George Sodder spoke to Charleston Gazette-Mail, admitting, "We can't go any further. Time is running out for us," he said. "But we only wanted to know if they did die in the fire. We want to be convinced if that really did happen. Otherwise, we want to know what happened to them." The following year, George Sodder died. Grief-stricken, Jenny dressed in black for the remainder of her life and spent her days tending to the memorial garden at the site of the fire. When she died in 1989, the Sodder children finally removed the battered old billboard from the side of the highway. So that is where we're at. I know. I am curious what could have happened. My throat is getting sore and it's getting harder to talk, so I have to get some more fresh hot coffee, maybe tea. Got to think about this. I want coffee. Anyway, we're going to move on now to the psychic tarot reading. All right. Hi, welcome. And we're going to get into this tarot psychic reading. And I'm curious. This case really boggles me. And I just want to remind everyone that everything here is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. And yes, I have to make sure I make that statement. You can see it, right? Oh, no, you can't see it yet. I did this before, didn't I? Let's see here. You can see it now. I have it right down there, right? All right, it is so cold. I got myself a blankie. I got a heater going on. I saw all of a sudden there was a flash saying, "Hey, a snowstorm is about to hit in 5 minutes," and I didn't. Yeah, it's snowing out there. It is cold and miserable. Okay, folks. Sodder children. I just wish George and Jenny had closure. Oh, hopefully they have it now. But so many years. Where are the children? Okay. First card, you see here? 9 of Pentacles. This is disappearing money was involved. The Empress. I don't like that. This it's just like, I don't know how to really explain this so far. I need more cards. Because this is like doing well financially, having lots of luxury. So I'm not sure where I'm getting this. And then we have the Empress reversed. And it's like, having to, being needy. Being needy. Needing. Maybe they needed that. They wanted whoever this is. Let's see here. Huh. Okay, here's another card. Okay. Ooh. We have the 4 of Pentacles, folks. We're dealing with greed here. Overspending. I think, okay, this is clearer. There's somebody's involved in this situation whom was overspending, living greater than what they actually were. You know, okay, the 9 of Swords. This is making sense, because there's somebody who is, I mean, they're stressed. The financial situation got to a point where, what is my cat doing? She's trying to crawl into the fireplace. Angie, get down. I don't even know. Well, sorry about that distraction. It got me worried. Oh. There's a lot of despair, desperation, willing to do anything. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Reversed. It's like they're needing help, but they're stuck. Something is blocking. There's a stuck. Their plans keep getting stopped. Someone wasn't willing to help. And I'm thinking George was the one who was like, nope, not going to help you. I'm wondering. And here's the 6 of Wands. He's feeling very disrespected because he's being denied money. Is this the insurance guy? Did George turn down? Who is it? Oh my gosh, this is making some sense. Oh. Yeah. No, the Queen of Pentacles here. This is conflict. There's a conflict with his job and home life. Something not working, clicking. Who is that? This has got to be the insurance man over here. Again. Let's try this again. A bunch of cards just dropped on me. We don't want a bunch of cards. We just want to get one, maybe two. Okay. No. Come on. Okay. Oh. This is reversed, and this is the star. Am I right? Yeah. It's number 17. And it's reversed. This is just more despair, bad luck, bad mistake. You know, just all hope is gone. We got this Emperor of Wands here. See the guy? He's carrying out. Oh, this makes. So, the life insurance guy, I think he usually could talk people into just about anything. Just very charismatic. He could get, I'm thinking this guy could just get it. George pissed him off. Yeah. And here is the High Priestess reversed. That over here, and okay, all the despair, how he had all his riches, it's all done secretly. He was a con man. George knew. He was just a con man, and George, that's why George said no. Did he set up? Okay. We have the Queen of Wands here now. This is Jenny. She had a lot of hope. Really believed those kids were alive. It's like a mother intuition, you know, with your kids. Sometimes you can sense that something's wrong or not, or if they're doing well, you kind of, you could sense. Okay. All right. The Page of Cups. This. Yeah. That's sad. It's just showing how depressed Jenny was. She was crushed. I think, and losing her husband, that's why she totally wore that black. Okay, we got Seven of Swords. We're coming back here. This is the betrayal. There was a deception. the guy got away with burning the house down and taking the kids. He had connections. I'm seeing trafficking here that was done. Whew. And we know a priest got involved, right? So this is like, and also strong political beliefs. I'm seeing religious and trying to use a priest to keep the con going. They must have had something over this priest, or they just threatened it, you know? Fire chief wanted everything. It's interesting that the fire chief was the only one available on Christmas Eve. It's almost like it was set up. Hangman upside down, folks. This is stalling, distracting, trying to keep the truth from coming out. What I was just talking about. Just like, ooh, putting out that box with the beef liver, thinking they would think it was, it wasn't smart, but they tried. Here's the fool. You know, they took a risk. They took a risk with this. It was a rash, a stupid, kind of foolish decision to ask the priest to get involved. And it led to betrayal, heartbreak. Because it just stirred up more emotional pain and the grief of losing their kids. They're like, we know there's a cover-up now. You can't fool us. This is just, the kids were taken. Yeah, as I said, taken. Here's the chariot, taking away, going away. I'm getting the chills over here. Oh, wow. Yeah. The kids were taken. I really think this insurance guy, I mean, he could have had ties to the mafia. I mean, it could have been, not separate conspiracy theories, George seems like he was someone who was hardworking, loved his family, and he would do anything for them. He seemed someone who was upright and proud to be here in America, working hard, having a farm, his coal industry, all this stuff. And he didn't want to have an appearance of, doing anything untoward, Tried another deck of cards here. It's my Lenormand deck. I like this deck, so I figure I'm going to try this one out right now. Let me just... Because I'm seeing the people involved, they really, the kids were separated. They were all separated. I think 2 might have been kept together. But they were separated and trafficked out. It was like... And It was the younger ones I think they really wanted, because the older ones they couldn't have controlled as much and keep them from. It's like they were passed around to other families. And kind of like, hey, this is your new life now. This is where you are. This is where you belong. Almost like their family were going to be threatened. Oh, well, that's too many cards. It dropped. It was like, just keep your mouth shut. All right, so we have a lady. Oh, crossroads. Let's see. Okay, in the clouds. So, yeah. The woman deciding separate the kids, separate them all, different paths, cause confusion. So there is, yeah. She didn't want the kids to be harmed or killed. It's like she had convinced them, don't kill them, let's take them and we could do something with them in trap. And here's a cage with the garden. And the networking. This is with them, with the crossroads here. This is the trafficking of the kids. She encouraged that. It's like we can make money. Here's 33 with a cage and a key. This, there is proof that can clear away the clouds about this. There's some kind of trail. 34 the fish. I was gonna say, Enterprise. This woman, it could be a man with feminine energy too. I'm not gonna put that at, something with the lady. Gotta tell you, the lady's popped up twice now. This is like wanting to make a home. I think she might have kept one of the kids for herself. I'm thinking a daughter. She wanted her own child, and the others were sold off. It's looking like 41. We got. This is as well. You have to dig deeper, and you're going to find where the kids went and who with. There is more digging. This was a cover-up, and it's like those involved might have even left the country so that they wouldn't get caught, anything. It's like, okay, we got our money, we got our payout, we're going back to Italy, But the kids didn't leave the country. I don't think. 23. The mice. This is stealing. They stole the kids. Here's the man involved. He is partnered with the woman. And 37 here. If you look at this, this is time. So it's just, we can still get the answers. There's still time. You got to it's taken a long time. But this man right here, I think is Louis, the one son. He knows a lot about what's going on. And I think I'm seeing this like Stockholm syndrome. That's what I'm seeing. Where he found, he started to empathize with the ones who took him. And I'm thinking he took care of the woman who reported him. That's what I'm seeing. Had that dealt with. dealt with. That's why she went missing and they had to go other means to try and find Louis. I believe, yeah. Okay, I want to try something else here. I want to try some charms. So, be right back. Welcome back. I'm trying something completely new and different that I haven't done live, and so I might need a little help. But curious about this insurance guy here. So, already lost one little charm. Here we go. Now, they are tiny, so butterfly, travel, an anchor. What is this? Okay, this little handbag, sword, and the key. Okay, let's see here. Feeling trapped, stuck. I am gonna do what I want. This is the insurance guy. Very stubborn. Very stubborn. He's extremely like. This is just him being flighty, being a con man, not to be trusted, not to be trusted at all. And he is the key to a lot of questions. He is the key. The insurance guy is the key. He wanted to separate, that's when you have the sword here, separate the kids from their parents. He wanted to show them, oh, you think you're just this happy, cool family and doing so well? Well, you know what? I'll separate y'all, and you will never know the truth of the matter. And I think that was the big thing about it. Not knowing. And holding on to it. Yeah, so that's definitely just more clarifying about what happened and more what's going on here now. That kid Louis. I got Louis. Mads on you. Let's see here. Go back here. What do we have now, Louis? Is that a dog or a lion? I can't see. Can you see? Can you tell? Can you tell here? I think that's a lion. Okay. Tea kettle. Angel. Whoa. Oh, is that a rose? and a mushroom. Very interesting. Okay. I'm seeing something here because it kind of seems to me that, yeah, this has gotten, because the angel and the rose with the lion, it's like I really feel that Louis moved up into like ranks in the organization who had taken him. Because he's coming across very dominant, very, very strong leadership, taking control. I think he yeah, with the mushrooms, I think drugs. He got involved with drugs. Maybe even getting, selling them. That would make a lot of sense to me. With the angel, I've seen angel dust, but I'm thinking this angel tells me he's also very religious. I'm like, very faithful. His strong beliefs that what he's doing is right. He's obsessive. I just okay. He has like this honor code that he lives by. He knows what happened, and he doesn't mind the rumors. It's like he wants a lot more confusion to be spread. He just doesn't care at all, folks. And he has a network. It's like a network of people around him. That, interesting. I didn't know at all what I was going to see. This, I was really curious. And just, wow. Wow. I hope you like this reading. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, you could give me a thumbs down. I'm just not going to say it. YouTube changed that. Changed their policy on that. I don't know why you keep the thumbs down. I don't know. I just go with the flow. Just go with the flow of things here, folks. That's what we do here. We'll turn off the music. And also, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so you know when I post a video. You know I post at least one video, sometimes more, every week. You will get one. You just have to hit that notification bell, and then you will notify and you'll see it coming. Sometimes I can post on the community tab. Excuse me. On the community tab. Polls and updates about what's going on and what hints about the next video and when it's coming. So get involved there too. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. I just don't like Instagram. I don't know why. I should like it more. Should I? And I should do some more TikToks, right? Would you guys like to see me do more YouTube shorts? I can totally do that too. I love you guys. I hope you liked the addition of the charms. It was kind of new for me to do. On kind of not really live, but for other like this. Yeah. And I hope you all have very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah to those celebrating right now. And Yuletide tidings. Yule is around the corner. I'm trying to figure out where my Yule log is. That's something that I need to put an intention out there to help me manifest that, right? Because it's beautiful and I want to add it to my decorations here. Guys, just remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I love you. Bye.